Wow, that didn't work this time.
Wow, that didn't work at all.
Didn't work
it kind
at
of
all.
just cut out.
It kind of just cut out. I had my eyes closed, and I was like, "This is so dramatic. I'm gonna slow it down." And I was like, "It's not getting quieter," and then it just cut out.
And then it stopped.
Well, anyway,
maybe this isn't good.
Oh, the platform?
Yeah.
Welcome to the show, everyone. I am one of your hosts. This is John Warren. With me is my forever co-host, Niki Grayson.
Hey, what's up?
It's
really funny, John.
It's VGBees Podcast, episode 9. We got a really good show for you today, like a sneaky good show, I feel like, because we have a huge piece of news. It's the biggest news of the week. It's Barley's birthday!
Yay! Where is she? She's not in here.
She's 9.
She's 9 today. She celebrated by, we took a long walk this morning.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I didn't hurry her up at all.
Wow, that's huge. That's a big present.
Yes. She didn't say thank you.
Wow.
And then we went to, there's a coffee shop near me that has a little dog park in the back. So we went there and she hung out and she started to interact with the dog and then remembered that she doesn't know how to play. So then she ran away and then hid behind my chair. And then she laid down in the sun. And then we ran some errands. And then she got pets from the people at the stores. And yeah, so big day for her so far. I'm gonna make her a little pie tomorrow.
Ooh,
on Sunday.
What do you putting in the pie?
So it's gonna be a goldfish crust with watermelon and whipped cream.
That's so great. Like, I love nasty shit. Like, when we host, if you don't know, we host another podcast called If You're Driving, Close Your Eyes. And we were talking on, I don't know, it was either the bonus episode or the real one that we recorded, about how I feed the dogs multiple types of food every day. And that's, like, what I give Raisinette in the evening is some dry salmon food, some wet lamb food, and pumpkin.
Yeah, dog. That's like not a meal.
No, well, it's like for a person, it's like the grossest thing in the world.
Yes, absolutely.
But it's like, so the idea of a goldfish crust with watermelon and whipped cream is like, she's gonna fucking
lose her mind.
That. She's gonna lose her mind.
Yes.
How long have you had Barley? Is that like
4 years?
4 years. Okay.
He's kept this weird lizard alive for 4 years.
And that it kind of feels cool, right?
It feels fucking sick, dude.
Yeah.
Haven't killed her yet.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah. That was that
because I was deeply worried for a second.
Yeah.
That I wasn't gonna be able to do it.
Oh, you so did it.
Yeah. Deeply.
Yeah.
That dog has seen so much. In the 4 years that I've had her, she has seen seen and done more than I had in probably the first 16 years of my life.
Well, that's having a child, you know?
Yeah. You show them the world that you wish to have seen.
You want to show them the world, even though they don't appreciate it.
Not even a single fucking thank you.
No.
Not a thank you for keeping me alive for 4 years. Not a single
It kind of reminds
thank
me
you
of,
for feeding me every day.
It kind of reminds me of, like, my parents would be like we were talking about, like, places we've been, and they were like, oh, don't forget New Mexico. And I was like, you mean when you took me there when I was 6 months old? And they were like, yeah. And I'm like, that's not y'all didn't take me on vacation. I was luggage. I wasn't like,
I was luggage that
I
shit.
was luggage that shit everywhere. That wasn't, you didn't take me on anything. I could have, as long as I was changed and fed, I could have been in the back of a trunk somewhere. Like it just doesn't matter, you know.
Yeah, may as well have not been there.
So,
Yeah,
but that's
no,
how I feel when I
Barley.
take dogs anywhere. I'm just like,
Yeah,
look at all this stuff.
look
That's
at this stuff.
That's why I love those TikToks so much about like showing my dog.
Oh my
places that
god, yeah.
they've never.
I
seen.
do that already. I
It's
did that
so
already.
funny because
Yes.
it's like I feel the same way, and they just look kind of confused. Like,
Yeah.
I'll never see this again naturally.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yeah, Barley she does like the freezer.
Yeah.
I think because cold air blowout.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, big day for her. Excited for her to continue to be alive and in my life.
She's such a sweet baby.
Yes. My precious child.
She's so good. And it's also been a year since I've got a ravioli.
Wow.
That snuck up on me. I was looking
You
at
copied me?
I did. I was like, I thought it was like the 29th or something, and then I was looking through my photos to be like, oh, I want, and it was yesterday. So I noticed it yesterday, and I was like,
wow.
Oh, wow.
Oh, thanks.
Ravioli's
Thanks for the Barley.
He's so sick of my shit.
Well, listen, he's in that. How old is he? He's 1 now.
He's 1. Yeah.
Yeah. So
he's just a baby.
He's just a baby, but
he has a long time to be sick of my shit, I think.
Yes. He'll be if he's sick of it now. Imagine in 10 years. That dog's gonna live for 35 years, John. You know that, right?
I know.
Chihuahuas live forever.
We looked at
they
each
live
other.
so long.
Ann and I looked at each other at some point. We were like, "Yeah, this is like a 20-year thing." Like we sat there for a while, being like, "Wow, we kept Ziggy alive for 15 and a half years," and Ravioli's like, "Okay, watch this."
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, no, he's chilling. He's behind me underneath a bunch of covers, and he's sick of my shit. Evo was this past weekend, and you and I both watched it. Mm-hmm. We watched quite a bit of it. I watched quite a bit of it. I know we chatted about it a little bit offline, but what it felt like more people watched and talked about Evo than previously. It feels like more people were in tune with it than I feel like I've seen in a while. Some of that's probably some recency bias, and also like, oh, I'm paying attention to it, so now I'm noticing that other people are paying attention to it. But I've also seen that viewership numbers were up and all that stuff, so it does seem like it was a big one for them. What did you most like about that whole weekend?
I think the thing that really stuck out to me was that the format wise, I think it is great.
Yeah.
Like, and I have such deep respect for formats that work.
Yeah.
Because it is as easy as I think it is in my head to come up with a tournament format that is fun and engaging for the players and for the audience. I think it is not as easy as people like to think, but I also do think it is easily complicated. Does that make sense? Like, I think it exists in that weird middle space.
Sure.
And as in the lead up, I think, to the Olympics, I've been thinking a lot about the idea of the tournament broadly, and I'm like, yeah, it fucking rules. Like, it's sick as hell, actually, that you can put these people together to do the same thing, and you will have there's so many different permutations of it. And I really popped off for Third Strike. Had a great time watching that final. I watched the Tekken final too. Yep. And I watched the Mortal Kombat final as well. And I think it's it is the most sports that video games can be because of the nature of what the fighting game is. And I think that anything further away from this is a challenge. It's a challenge and a fool's errand a little bit.
I wonder how weirdly of all programs to do it, there was a G4 show way back in the day that invested a lot in, I think, trying to fit especially Counter-Strike matches into a formula that was more legible for your average sports viewer, and I thought they did a pretty good job. And I actually feel like we've gotten away from trying to do that a bit. I think a lot of people are focusing on what it means to have a balanced, playable, competition-ready video game, which is like, you need that, clearly. But I also think if you want this to succeed, you really do have to think about it like modern sports, which I think is so funny because it feels like the thing that these people are allergic to. Like, their entire lives, they've not wanted to be in that conversation, in that space. They have no interest in sports, largely, I feel like. But they need to completely rebuild, I think, a lot of what they're doing in the form of a sport that is easy to digest and easy to catch up with. I was watching... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no. But, like, so crucially, like, that is why, like, Overwatch League, what, like, really hit for me, but then I also fell off of it so fast, is because, like, if you missed one... First of all, every Overwatch League match was, like, 75 hours long.
Right.
It was 1,000,000 hours long. You couldn't figure out what the fuck was happening. If you, like, joined in the middle of it, you didn't really know who was winning or why or who had the momentum. Like, it was really hard to grasp what was going on.
Yeah.
Legibility issues. And also the formatting of the seasons, like, didn't really make any sense either.
No.
Because they were, like, sometimes they would be playing a version of the game that was different than the version of the game that you would be playing, so then you couldn't even go home and be like, oh, here's the strategy that I saw that the players were using. You can't even do that, so, like, what's the point? Like, that stuff, like, it just never lined up.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I think that one thing I do wish Evo was better at was showing the pools and showing, like, I felt like I didn't see any of that stuff until the end, where you would see a bracket once you had the top 8, top 6, whatever it was for those games. I think what's funny is that I think people coming from sports into Evo, they may need, depending on what sport you're into. If you're into soccer and stuff like that, in double elimination tournaments and things like that, it's not that weird.
Yeah.
But U.S. sports are mostly obsessed with the single elimination tournament.
That's because it's better.
So that's an interesting thing that I do want to talk about, because I actually don't know if I agree with that based on Evo. That I think it actually gives you a more defined real winner, right? Like, it fully tests the mettle of everyone involved.
For sure.
But I also get it in a sense of, like, it's something very American too, of just like, well, you better get it right this one time.
Yeah, show up.
Yeah. Don't fucking lose then.
Yeah.
You know?
That's mostly how I feel. And I think that, but also, like, if like the NFL playoffs moved to double elimination, that would fuck me up. Or even if the NFL moved to a series, like it was best of three.
Jeez.
Like, that would be insane. I do think it's format. I think double elimination is great for Evo because the matches are short.
The matches are very short. Yeah.
So, like,
it feels like it'd be over in an instant, and that feels emptier.
It feels emptier. It doesn't feel like as much of a there is strategy to the double elimination because you are going to play different. Like, it is inbuilt into the system. The idea of, like, coming into something with a double elimination seems nuts. Which is why, like, when they the NBA introduced the in-season tournament, which, like, they rolled that out poorly because it didn't really make any sense.
It didn't.
Kind of doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But, like, part of it is that, like, it is so foreign to the way that the playoff structure works, where it is so obviously clear you have to win 4 out of 7 games 4 times. Or 3 times.
You have to win 16 games.
Yes. And like, that's very simple. That's very easy to understand. But then, like, there's point differential because these games are like you're double dipping on the value of the game because it's also a regular season game, and it's like that doesn't work. You either have to like stop everybody and do the tournament, or you don't do the tournament.
Yeah, I don't really quickly. So for those who don't know, the NBA recently they did it for the first time last year.
Emirates Cup.
The Emirates.
Please.
Oh, did they rebrand it?
Yes.
Oh wow, I didn't see that. Holy shit.
Or I think it's the Emirates NBA Cup is the actual title.
So they basically have taken, is it 5 games? No, 4 games.
It's 4 games in the group stage.
4 games in the group stage. So 4 of the games that happen naturally in the regular season also count in this group stage, that then those winners of the group stages go into a tournament.
A single elimination tournament.
Those games are additional to the group play. Yes.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, they are.
Because they didn't naturally wait until the Bucks and Pacers would play later.
No, but those games don't.
And they count as season.
They count as season games, except
the single elimination.
Except those ones don't count.
Those don't. So, like, it's dumb.
Yeah.
Like, it's stupid. I'm going to, like, there becomes this thing of, like, okay, I'm going to tank those 4 games so I don't have to play 2 more extra games.
Yes.
Like, I don't understand. It's, like, the value system is so strange to me. And in Evo, it's like, unless you're really desperately trying to avoid a certain player until a certain point, then it doesn't make sense to kind of you want to win.
You're not trying to
get into the winner stuff because what's cool is that when the winners bracket winner and the losers bracket winner face off in the grand finals, the loser has to win a complete set in order to quote unquote reset it, which then turns it into a final set essentially.
Yeah.
Which is wonderful. I mean, that's really great. The final is the only one that doesn't count. I guess that doesn't make sense.
But I'm still confused.
I don't think that's true. No, but how do you put them in the No. How do you put them in the tournament? They don't naturally. Oh, they schedule it out that way.
They schedule it out that way. I think they do count. They just put them later. If you don't,
everyone gets games added at the end of the year.
Yes. Thank you, Fuck Nasty.
That's right. Thank you, Fuck Nasty.
Which is insane.
Like you
don't need to do.
What an exercise.
Just stop. Just take a break.
The room of people that Adam Silver must pay to do the scheduling stuff are like, we don't get. Do we get some of that Amazon money? Because I don't think
because please,
like
the computers are not built for this.
Yeah, the algorithm we're having to rewrite in order to do this is pretty insane. Just imagine when they add 6 expansion teams or whatever in the next decade. But anyway, so Evo has an interesting format. I do think they could do a better job of taking archival footage and creating packages around players and moments. Like
yes, so but that so deeply, I agree.
Yeah,
there's nobody involved with Evo who knows what sports is,
which is crazy to me. Because I've been watching. I was telling you about this the other night. I was like, I've been watching like old broadcasts of NFL games. So NFL games from 30 years ago, and like I watched a Thanksgiving Day game last night it was between the Chiefs and the Cowboys, and I don't remember anything that was happening in 1995 because I was 10. So at the beginning of this broadcast, they spent, and I'm not kidding, Niki, 4 minutes and 10 seconds on a video package telling you why the Kansas City Chiefs are interesting, why the Cowboys are interesting, why Marty Schottenheimer is having his best coaching year ever. And like, if you are coming to a Thanksgiving Day game for the first time, which many people are, because they're all with their family and they're like, okay, I haven't watched an NFL game in forever, whatever. I now kind of know what's going on.
Yeah, you're up to speed. You're up to speed and you have a vibe on who to root for.
And the one knock I can really, and this is going to make me sound like a fucking idiot and a boomer and a fucking, I don't know, the lamest person in the world. But the commentary style of these events
Mm-hmm.
don't actually nurture any of that.
No,
It's
entirely inaccessible.
It's all just like pulling from a tree that you have no, like, they're just naming shit.
Yes.
And there's a core group of people that knows that language, and that's great. That's fine. This works for them. And maybe I'm not the audience. But to some extent, I should be the audience.
Yeah.
Like, I should be at least invited in to say, hey, if you've never seen this player before, here's some context. And I'm going to give it to you in a way that anybody can absorb, and not just someone that's been watching fighting game tournaments for the past decade.
Yeah.
That's my only, I think, complaint with Evo.
I agree. It is entirely inaccessible. And Merlin in chat, I'm going to read your message because I hear where you're coming from, but I just want to push back a tiny bit. With as big of a bracket as Evo gets, you just can't predict which players are going to make it far enough for something like that to have value. There are at least 100 players that could have been top 6.
Let me tell you about American sports, though.
Yes. So, like,
there are
yes,
53
absolutely.
people on every NFL team,
yes,
and they have fucking research on all 53
on
of those
all
players.
of them.
So at any given moment, you would have to pull into your 106 player deep, including practice squad, which is another 10 players. You have to do that. That's just something that they do.
And there's also, like, when the tournament, like the NCAA March Madness tournament comes around, there's 64 teams in that tournament. Right. And, like, from schools that you've never heard of that have 13 kids at them, like, every single kid at the school is on the basketball team. Like, that's the size of the, like, and you still get 68. Yeah. Cause there's play-in games, right? So there's, like, they do have the bandwidth. It feels crazy to be like, okay, we're gonna pick our top 100 guys who we think are gonna make it to be the top 100 and do some research. It feels nuts, but it actually isn't.
So
like, it is
possible.
Deeply possible. Sony has the money to do that legwork.
I'm not saying with the exact same staff and numbers that they have
for
now,
sure
they could just easily do it. It needs to be invested in. So to be clear, Merlin, we're not saying like, oh, they could, like, they would have to invest, but
it's not a switch to be flipped.
I am saying in the entirety of broadcast sports, this is a very common thing to have.
Yeah. And also, but this is so similar to something that I was thinking about yesterday, because the Olympics started yesterday. Well, like, the opening ceremony is on Friday.
Which, by the way, just a very quick aside, really bad job of just like if this is one of those Google searches that tells you nothing of like any sort of meaning.
When did the Olympics start?
Because 2 days ago I was like, wait, when did the Olympics start? It's like July 28th, and I was like, that's weird. I could have sworn I saw a bunch of people talking about the Olympics going on. It's just like, no, the Olympics they're going on now. Go to Peacock.
Go to Peacock right now. It doesn't make any sense. Just don't have stuff earlier.
Why? Like, why? Like,
just start it after.
Just start it
Move
after.
the opening ceremony up, or just start playing stuff after. It's
like
not
they're
that
like,
difficult.
the Olympics is 2 weeks. It's like, it's 3. Why are you playing? Like, it's just like a weird bit you're doing.
You're already shutting the city down. Like, what's the difference? It doesn't make a difference. But I was watching, so I've got deep into rugby sevens, which is a sport that I knew existed, knew nothing about. Yesterday I watched 5 uninterrupted hours of rugby sevens. And now it's one of my favorite sports ever. It fucking rules. It's just rugby, except instead of 15 guys, you have 7 guys. But it's on the same size field. So it's like...
Wow. So they could really build up a head of steam, huh?
Literally, like, the plays in rugby sevens are so explosive. It happens so quickly. Scoring happens really... The games are like, I swear to God, John, like 25 minutes long.
Oh,
and
wow.
You get in and you get out. I watched the U.S. play France for their opening game yesterday, and we drew, which is very rare in rugby sevens. But we drew. The United States drew France, and then... I was like, wow, great. Well, I guess we'll see America tomorrow. And then like 2.5 hours later, they played again against New Zealand, I think, or Fiji.
Wow.
And then they got fucking ruined by Fiji. But like when you do rugby sevens, you play like 2 to 3 games a day.
That's crazy.
As you're getting every single bone in your body just completely destroyed. It is so brutal of a sport. It's so much fun. Eli asked question, if in Minecraft I wanted to watch the Olympics without Peacock, what country should I VPN to get free Olympics in Minecraft? Canada in Minecraft. TSN.
Canadian Minecraft.
Canadian Minecraft has Canadian TSN in Minecraft, and they have good stuff. Anyway, the reason I bring this up, no fucking clue what Rugby Sevens was before yesterday.
Sure.
NBC did zero legwork to
tell you,
make an attempt to explain to me what the fuck Rugby Sevens was. It was on USA.
Do they think you already don't know what rugby is for you to, like, we'd have to do too much. We'd have to explain rugby to you.
That's what I felt going in, but then I watched it and then I mostly ended up understanding it.
Yeah.
But there are still, like, I would have loved if there was a 3-minute long video package that was like, hey, what the fuck Rugby Sevens is.
Yep.
Because when they go to commercial on the world feed on Peacock, instead of showing an ad, they will instead show you a picture of the Eiffel Tower and say, here's a picture of the Eiffel Tower. Look at this for the commercial block. And it's like, you only have the Olympics. You know what sports are going to be there. The fact that you didn't produce a 3-minute long package that is explaining how the sport works is nuts. And Evo should also be doing that. Explaining what the words that the commentators are saying means should be a thing. Like when they go to break, instead of doing that stupid fucking rock, paper, scissors shit that made me want to throw a brick through my TV.
There was some bad, there was
like
some bad
crowd work stuff was awful.
That was pretty bad.
And instead of doing that, they should have instead been like, hey, free fucking content idea, Sony.
Yeah.
Instead of doing that, walk on the show floor and be like, hey, do you know what a mix-up is? Can you explain what a mix-up is?
Yep.
To the audience at home.
Yep.
And then you do that for a bunch of fighting game terms, and that teaches the audience what the stuff is, and then also is more engaging than, again, like watching paint dry.
Yeah. Merlin says in previous years they've had a special stream with a separate commentary team in for beginners. Not sure why that stopped. I wish I had been there. I mean, there was the fun thing about especially late night Evo matches. Some of the commentary is so fucking funny. Like I was laughing very hard at a late night Street Fighter 6 match because the two commentators were just naturally funny and very charismatic and stuff. But it's like, unless you have a working idea of how these games work, which like I do for Street Fighter 6, I do for Street Fighter 3, I do for Tekken 8. For Mortal Kombat, for Umbrage, Birth by
Afterbirth,
by our
Placenta
Afterbirth,
Sucker.
Cis tube or something like that.
Hey, everybody, get in the cis tube. Hi, I'm JD Vance. I want everybody.
SYS.
I want everybody
Unbirth.
to get in the
There we
cis
go.
tube.
Unbirth. You know, it's like when it's like, well, here's Unbirth. I'm like, tell me fucking anything about Unbirth.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. I understand that. I think this is the calculus that Evo's doing. I have to imagine. Is that there are people there that really want to just be there to do Evo. And they really don't want to, like, fuck with appealing to any sort of audience outside of kind of the normal folks that are there. Okay. Yeah. And so the idea of them having to stop, like, slam on the brakes and go, hey, folks, here's what a mix-up is. When we say punish, this is what that means. They are afraid of the chats on Twitch and YouTube becoming absolutely inundated with people being like, oh, yeah, like just garbage. Yeah. Like, I think they're worried about that, and they're right to be worried about it in the sense that I think that is what would happen. But who gives a shit?
Exactly.
Like, you're just going to have to take your medicine. Like, this is just now a thing, you know?
And I also think that, like, that is so true, John, because the calculus on the viability, or not the viability, the valuability of chat in these circumstances it doesn't mean anything. And like, I think that's harsh to say,
yeah,
but like, it doesn't mean anything for Evo. It doesn't mean anything for like Games Done Quick. Like these like big streams where there's thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't make a difference. Like all it does is that's just a number that someone gets to.
It is it is an engagement number that someone gets to plug in later
in a slide.
Go,
yes, exactly.
We had this many chatters.
Yes, we had.
No one like.
It doesn't mean anything. So like, from a, and also they're gonna be there anyway. They're like, no one is going to be, if you do any kind of tutorialization stuff, and you get shit for it in chat. It doesn't matter. Like they're not gonna not watch Evo.
Right.
They're already sick like that.
And to your point, there are only like 18 people in this chat, and I like totally purposefully stepped over what Unbirth is, and everyone's like, "It's Melty Blood, you fucking idiot! It's Melty Blood. Don't you know what Melty Blood is?"
No.
I do know.
A big wife with.
I do know what Melty Blood is. I'm just fucking with y'all, but. It is.
I don't.
But it is. Yeah. But it is kind of funny. Like it's kind of like this is what I think people would do, and it's like it's funny for us because we have this chat that we really like. But it's like if it was 4,000 of these people saying it's Melty Blood, that's essentially what people would be doing, right?
Yeah.
It is a fighting game spinoff of a visual novel. The Unbirthed game, I was doing some real research, and it does have these like kind of deep story elements and stuff. So it combines a bunch of interesting stuff. Actually, it looks kind of interesting. I'll never play it, but it's kind of cool. But it's like RJ Lee says, "Be a huge nerd. It's what you're supposed to do as a sports commentator. Do you think Pat Summerall or Madden sounded any cooler trying to describe a cover 2 play scheme?" It's a good question. Here's what I'll say about John Madden. John Madden was actually the best in the world at trying to explain that shit to a normie at home.
There has been nobody better than him.
Really good at that. Because one, he by the way, John Madden, very fascinating figure to me. I did a lot of research on him when he died to write some stuff. Mm-hmm. He was like an innovator in the space. He went to, I think it was like UC Berkeley or something, and was messing with the technology of telestration, which is drawing on the screen of a live broadcast. And he was like, let's do that on TV. He was like a broadcasting innovator. And we need people like that in these spaces to go, the people at home do not know what a cover 2 zone scheme is.
Yeah.
They do not know what the gap assignments are of the linemen. They do not know that. They will not know it when they look. They will not know a mistake when they see it. They will not know something beautiful when they see it. And so he was really good and a great example of someone who could transcend that conversation and actually explain it, and knew that he had to use visual aids to do it.
Yes.
So like there is something perfect about that question of like, yeah, like someone's gonna have to go. Like for people who understand it, a punish is super easy, but for people who don't, you have to go back to like frames. You have to go back to like. You have to go back to basics somewhat to let people know kind of how a game works. And it's like, I don't know. It's like, it's a lot of work.
Yeah. The fact
I think it'll pay off though, if they do.
The fact that Evo has not, and I think this, again, it's like, it's bandwidth, it's priorities.
Yeah.
It's whatever. But the fact that like that on Monday of this week, that Evo did not have a like Evo Moment 38 explained video about that guy doing the drop kick over the super in
oh my
Third
god
Strike.
Yeah, right.
Like it is inexcusable to me that they didn't have those commentators sit back down in the film room or even grab the player whose name I'm forgetting or put not even like you don't even need to have him explain, but like just have him on the call, Zoom call for 30 seconds to be like, What were you thinking in this moment? Did you think was this planned? Like blah 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 blah.
Like, was that scouted or was that just
Yeah.
pure
Was that
muscle
yeah?
memory,
Like
like
what was the deal?
instinct? Yeah.
And that's a 3.5 minute long video,
Yep.
gang. Like,
Yep.
and that's it. Like
Yep.
it's so easy because
Yeah.
it's not like the vocabulary doesn't exist,
Yep.
and it's not like the production pipeline doesn't exist either.
Right.
But it really just is like not enough people who run these kinds of tournaments or run esports actually watch sports.
Right.
So they do not understand that a lot of these problems have been solved for 30 years.
Yeah.
And 40 years, right? And then
Yep.
you get people who are on the other side running like the streaming situation for Peacock for the fucking Olympics, the biggest sporting event in the whole world
that they know is coming.
that they know is coming
A decade in advance. Like, they know at any point, any Olympics that you are seeing live, they've known is going to happen for a decade.
Yes. And instead of doing any prep, they do not any of that prep, which is a bummer. Funk asks,
Earnest question: does Sony have any sports stuff now?
I mean, they make the cameras that shoot the sports.
They make cameras that shoot the sports, and they make MLB The Show, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they must have contacts, and I mean, they were deep, like the Negro League stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and women's baseball, and
Mm-hmm.
a lot, like, they are deeply in touch with those leagues and their licensing partners there. They make those cameras. There are enough components there that I don't think that is like a huge stretch.
This is a kind of an aside, but not really. I think you can. It's a bigger conversation than I think than it is for this show. But like, I think as a and it like really speaks to like how flawed America is. But like, as a driver of innovation broadly,
Yeah.
American sports has done more than a lot of other like institutions. Major League Baseball is the reason that we have subscription video on demand.
Yes. Yes.
because Major League Baseball they had MLB at Bat.
Yeah.
They had internally they had a division called Major League Baseball Advanced Media, or BAM, Baseball Advanced Media, and that is like was one of the strongest, most reliable, highest bit rate, highest quality online video, like non-YouTube online video providers on the internet.
It's actually really cool.
MLB, it sick as hell. Like, and it was revolutionary at the time. Like I remember when MLB at Bat like first hit. When I was in like high school or like late middle school, early high school, and I was like, "Whoa, what the fuck? This shit just works. Like, you can just watch baseball from all over the place, and it just kind of goes. Like, you don't have to think about it." And then they spun it off, and Max, the one to watch for HBO, is just MLB at Bat. Like, it's just MLB at Bat. Like the CMS is the same, the pipeline is the same.
It's crazy.
So like there are very smart people working in sports who have solved a lot of these problems. It really just needs to be, people need to know that they can ask.
Yeah. Strange. I don't know. I think it is I think it's rooted. It's got to be rooted somewhat in. It has taken these leagues so long to figure out everything that they've had so long to figure things out that I'm sure the leagues are thinking. I'm sure Evo and these fighting tournaments are thinking like, well, we might as well just keep on trucking and we'll fix these issues eventually.
Yeah.
That's like, when we think of something being on a really long timeline, and assuming that in 30 years when Tekken 27 is out or whatever, we'll still be doing this, and like it'll still be like they'll have made those advancements maybe, But to me, there's no excuse to like accelerate those things. I guess that's
No, for sure.
what I feel like.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Let's move on.
Okay.
I've been playing No Man's Sky 5.0.
It looked gooder now, right?
It looked gooder. We have Lotus in the chat who explained to me so this is interesting. I wanted to play it on Xbox, but it didn't come out on Xbox until about 6 days after 5.0 came out everywhere else.
Real Dreamcast situation.
People are speculating it's because the cert process is complicated, which is very funny because you could just wait till the cert process is done for everything before you release it, but they just decide, we'll just put it
whatever.
As
who cares?
As possible for everyone else. Anyway, I didn't wait for it. I just re-downloaded it for PlayStation, which I guess I bought when it first came
yeah,
out.
Of course.
So
like everybody did.
Like everyone did. And I was just like, okay, I have this. So I'll just start over a new file. And I played it for 6 hours last night.
Nice.
Straight. I haven't played a game for 6 hours straight in a long time.
Yeah, how are your eyes?
Pretty good because they got blasted out of my skull with like fog and stuff. With these new systems. That game is just so big.
And
do
they got a tutorial in there yet or no?
Well, I mean, if you choose to follow the path of what they want you to do, it takes about 2 hours for you to like more or less do everything that you'll ever need to do. Okay. And they're doing better at when you discover something, adding I think a fairly robust like entry in your journal, essentially about what that mechanic is. So yeah, it's kind of cool. I really, really, really like. I've not gotten far enough in any playthrough of that game to get to kind of
the truly cool shit
where I'm like, I've got a freighter and like buddies that are running trade for me. It's like I haven't done any of that stuff, so I'm kind of hoping this is the time it sticks. Weirdly enough, it feels more like that, where I'm like, I'm having more fun with the systems than I did previously. I think everything feels a little bit more consequential and alive and interesting to me. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's a really good time to hop back in.
Here's my thing.
Yeah.
Every time an update comes out for this game, those words are said
100%.
And then I do what you just did. I do 6 to 10 hours.
Yep.
And then I say, I think I'm okay.
Yep.
On this because I don't know I don't know what to do. Like there's
you don't know if you're not finding fun enough to keep it going.
And also there's so many systems. And I feel the same about Warframe. There's almost too many things for me to do that I'm like, I don't know where to even start. Like being like, okay, I want to dedicate, like I know that they put out an ocean update.
Yeah.
Okay, like if I wanted to just focus on the ocean stuff, I feel like there should be a system that's like walk up to the ocean computer and then this ocean computer will guide you through all of the shit in the ocean update.
Yeah.
But like that's not in there. Like it really is just like here's the bucket of all of this stuff.
Yeah.
Have fun rifling through that. And for some people that is great. Like and I more power to you.
But for you,
that ain't me.
Yeah.
It makes me glaze over because I'm like I just get decision paralysis and then I'm like I don't know like where I don't even know if this is a good use of my time. Like that's the thing that freaks me out. Is that like I never want to feel unsure of whether or not the thing that I'm doing at that moment means anything or not.
Yeah.
So
they have expeditions, which are kind of these seeded worlds where you basically can go do kind of missions and things and do really specific activities that usually focus on something that is unique to the update that they've made. I've only watched people do expeditions. I've never done them. I've heard that a couple of them are really cool. The one that's out right now is a little bit like Helldivers. But I'm positive it won't be as interesting as Helldivers, to be honest. But I think to your point, the bucket now for me, the bucket now is so massive
Mm-hmm.
that it is telling me you're never going to get everything out of this bucket.
That's so scary to me.
And this is the part of it that never landed for me until now.
Yeah.
And so, the shit that doesn't seem interesting, don't worry about it.
Mm.
And that was the part that I think was missing before. Is that I think before it felt like, well, building a big base right now needs to be a thing that you do and you don't do anything else. This was like 3 updates ago that I felt this way. And they're like, you better know how to do this. And I'm like, why? And this time it's like, we're going to tell you how to build a base, but like if you want to fuck off,
Yeah.
you don't have to do this. And also, they've made it a lot easier to bounce to these places pretty quickly if you want to. So it's like it's cool. And also like some people in chat are talking about how you can basically customize your world and basically say like all this shit is free, you can do whatever, you can't even die, it's just creative, all that stuff. I know all that stuff is there and I've played with that stuff before. What's a bad part of my brain, which I think doesn't exist for a lot of other people, is if there's a recommended way to play something, you're
gonna do it that way.
Very slow to do it a different way. Like it was hard for me to turn the difficulty down on Witcher 3. Now, once I did, it opened the floodgates where I stopped caring about difficulty of a lot of games. But I was bored with having to concoct a bunch of like fucking potions every single time I wanted to fight a dog.
I miss you with that stuff. Yeah.
I just didn't want to do that. And I still found it to be really rewarding when it was easier. So I was like, this is fine. But that was hard for me. And so it's hard for me to just go, well, everything's free and I'm just able to do, because I do want some friction. I do want some friction. But I don't want that friction to be confusion with the systems, or I want that friction to be like, I want to do something and the game should be interesting enough to make it interesting.
Sure. That's my thing. Like the idea, like now that we've had this conversation, I will download it for what is probably what I wish
Sean Murray's got like a spreadsheet. He's like, oh, all right. Yep. Niki Grayson, one more time.
Got him again.
4th most downloads.
Like I do think it's probably like 15 times that I've uninstalled and reinstalled this video game.
Yeah.
But it's gone.
Oh, your thoughts gone?
Oh, the idea of like having to build another fucking indium and cadmium drive again, like no fucking way, dude. Like that's the stuff that I'm like, I get it. Let me skip that stuff, because that part is like I don't want to or need to.
They could fast forward the fuck out of that stuff. Like I really feel like the second you get that that refinery machine, you build that for the first time, they just give you a chart that's like, here's all the shit you need that's gonna like here are all the formulas. Here it is.
Yeah, like
like you're in space in the most advanced society ever. Like you know what the conversions are. Like I think you should just have those.
Yeah.
I get the sense of discovery that some people want, but it's like you already have so many of those discovery systems. I think you could skip this one about what chemicals are. You know, it's like I don't know.
Yeah, like I don't know or care.
Yeah.
Fonk says that you don't have to do the fuel stuff anymore. Listen, I'll see.
Wait, you don't have to do the fuel stuff anymore.
Listen, I just read the chat, and chat can't lie.
You don't have to. Like, you mean you could turn that off? You can turn that off, but in the
normal
mode, you still have to fuel stuff.
Grosimian fed 50 animals and got 400,000 space money. That sounds good.
Yeah. Well, also you can like a lot of the stuff that you dig up now on planets, you can sell for like 50,000 units each.
That's great.
So basically the currency you use to learn how to build stuff that you may not care about ever building, you can actually sell that for like.
Oh, that's helpful.
So it's like it's kind of cool.
The most fun I had in that game was we were at Fanbyte, I think, at the time. And I think it was early, so I want to say it was maybe 2019 or 2020. But the most fun I ever had in that game was that I found I basically was just like running a scam. Like I found a planet where they were selling this item for like $0. And then like 3 systems over, there was a system that was buying it for $1 bajillion.
That's great.
And I was like, oh, every time I leave, it resets. So I simply can just do this run. So I had a lot of money. And then I started buying ships and stuff. I was like, I'm going to buy this. I'm going to buy this. And I was like, oh, this is fun. But then I was like, okay, well.
Now you've run the scam and you're like,
yes.
Well, is there going to be another scam? Is it going to be
Yeah.
tastier than this one?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Probably not.
Probably not. Yeah.
So I don't know. I was also thinking about similarly on the space game Tilt. I've been thinking a lot about Star Wars Outlaws lately, which I am like tentatively excited about conceptually, but then I have the feeling in my bones that I kind of know, I think, how it is going to go.
I was more excited before I saw the IGN video. I don't know if you've seen it, but like,
oh no, so that's the other thing. Is that like
whoa, y'all, like this is the fastest a game has ever gone from like, whoa, this looks amazing, to like, wait, it looks like this actually.
And that's what I figured. Like I very intentionally have like separated myself from it. But I think it's because we're getting so much closer, it's harder and harder to separate myself from it. So I'm like hearing more and more about it.
Yeah.
And they just had a press event last week or maybe the week before.
Yeah.
I think I'm allowed to say that. I didn't go.
You're allowed to say that.
I'm allowed to say that the press event happened. I didn't sign shit.
I think the embargo for that was like yesterday or something. But yeah.
You know what?
What?
I'll say this.
Yeah.
I cold emailed the PR person after not being invited and said, hey, can I come? And can you believe it? She didn't reply. So what's that about?
What is that about?
What's that about?
What's that about?
But yeah, but similarly, like that's the kind of stuff in an open system space game, right? Like that I would want to kind of do in that Star Wars universe, but I don't think that's what the situation is. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. I don't know what that game's gonna be like, but I am excited. I'm kind of excited about it, mostly because it is actually, I think, Beyond Good and Evil 2. I think that's just what that game has become, and everyone's like, no, that's still coming out. It's not. Games Niki has not had time to play yet. Dungeons of Hinterberg and Flock.
Flock is a game about birds. I haven't watched any video gameplay of it. It's just I just know that it is a game about birds. It's in Game Pass, so I picked it up.
There's a lot of cool like aesthetic stuff in it.
Yes.
It's on Game Pass. Yeah.
And then Dungeons of Hinterberg is a very cool looking. I mostly downloaded it because I watched the trailer and I was like,
it's really
I love the way that this game looks. It is like Sable adjacent. I don't think it is like as striking as Sable is, but they're different games. Like they move at different speeds. This is like a third person character action RPG dungeon crawler situation. You've got abilities and enemies come at you and you fight them and you level up your abilities and stuff. And it looks very cool. I've started watching game trailers instead of reading things. Which has actually been kind of helpful for the way that I like inform myself about whether or not I want to play a video game, because instead of listening to someone say that they liked or didn't like it, I have to pick whether I think I'll like it or not.
So you're just trying to see if it's interesting to you instead of listening to someone else's opinion.
Yes.
Our opinion is really like folks at home, just don't listen to us. Just like kind of do your own
so
research,
deeply don't like do your own research, teach the controversy, learn the controversy, like that kind of stuff. But I do think that there is a gap, and I think it's just because we work in the business. I think that's all it is. Like I think like if you are passive, if you are not working in this industry and you are not consuming things at the rate that John and I or anybody else who works in this business is consuming stuff, then like yes, it makes it hard to do. But I think like having some separation, by which I mean like if a small game shows up and I'm like, I don't know shit about this, I don't look anything up about it other than looking at the trailer, and then I make a determination on whether or not I think it'll be cool, and then I play it. So
yeah, I usually just read names and I go to the Steam page, and if it like looks even moderately cool, I either ask the publisher for a code, or I download, or I put it in my cart. Like before I give you money,
Yeah. Hey, can you give me the option to not give you money?
Yeah. Let me hit you with this idea.
Yeah, let me hit you with this. It's free.
You give it to me for free. I literally did that for George at Papa Chinda not that long ago. I was like, hey, by the way.
Hey, what about me?
And
ever heard of me?
Ended up playing one of my favorite games of the year, which we'll have a review up on Monday.
So I'm excited for that video game. I just got my code for it.
Very good.
Yes, I'm amped.
It's very good. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say that I think that last week I might have mentioned that my Game Pass lasted until next year.
Oh, was that
because
wrong?
I was wrong. It actually expires on August 20th.
Oh, so you're gonna get the you're gonna get the new
stuff
first.
But I'm trying legitimately and actually trying to decide whether or not I'm gonna renew Game Pass or not.
Wow.
Because
you could probably get it through.
I could probably call somebody or like expense it or whatever. But like it's the principle.
You have two outlets you can literally use right now to just go. Yeah. Like if it doesn't work for Giant Bomb for some reason, you could just be like, well, for this scrappy
VGBees,
for VGBees,
yeah, I could. I just think that it's like, you know,
yep,
that's how I feel about it.
Yep.
That's how I feel about it.
Yeah.
So fair. Imagine my fucking surprise when I logged into my Microsoft account and was like, 2025, I'm sure. And they're like, no, August 20th, 2024. Which does track because I did buy all of that stuff in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
And I hit the cap in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
So
there you go.
That's time.
Hey, we had two unions form this week, wall to wall.
Yeah, huge.
Bethesda and World of Warcraft. So the World of Warcraft team specifically is what unionized over at Blizzard.
Confusing to me.
A little confusing. Might take a little bit to unwrap, but it's still a lot of people, which is very cool. Certainly puts a weird amount of pressure on, I think, the rest of the company to kind of respond. Obviously, some of the Activision teams there had QA teams that did down this path, but this is the first wall to wall, which is very exciting. And Bethesda did the same thing. Bethesda's is very interesting. I'm going to say some probably really irresponsible stuff in a way, but to me, them unionizing was the moment I started to think that Elden Scrolls 6 might actually be
What's
good.
It called?
Elder Scrolls. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Elder Scrolls 6 might actually be good.
Yeah.
And it is because I think the union to some extent is going to put some pressure on that team creatively to do something
to make it good.
To do something different.
Yeah.
Because I feel like every time one of Todd's games comes out, they're having to do these like decade-long aerobics around that game to make it good. And it's like, what if it was just good like the second it came out? Like, what if it was just good like right away?
Like, we released a good video game.
Like Cyberpunk is an interesting example of a game that like got pretty good over 2 years.
You don't have to say that, dude.
I still think it. I am on the camp that thinks that game is pretty good now. It is pretty good now. But you know what was good day one? Witcher 3.
Halo 2. Oh.
It's like, so you could do it. Todd, you could do both.
Yeah.
But just try the other one.
Here's something that I don't understand.
Yeah.
And maybe you, as a wizened adult who has owned businesses and knows how things work on this planet.
All of them have failed, but yeah.
That's not true. I
was waiting for you to well, that's not true. Well, the federal government would say otherwise.
When video game union happened, right? Mm-hmm. All of these studios under Xbox or under Microsoft Game Studios or whatever the Xbox Studios, whatever it's called.
Yep.
Just the World of Warcraft team unionizing is so deeply confusing to me. Because Microsoft has already said, and I understand that it's like you unionize with the people who are closest to you because that is what a union is. It is a horizontal organizational structure that allows you to go up, right? So you organize horizontally to gain verticality. The thing I don't get is that Microsoft has already said, and they said this in court, which is their mistake, that they would recognize every union. So why are we doing it piecemeal and not having instead of having all of the studios under the you
have to organize the teams. Like you have to get individual buy-in to a level above a certain percentage point that will have that conversation take place, and then you can formally recognize it. This is someone who is not. I've not formed a union, so I want to be clear about that. So I'm skipping some steps, and I'm also being like overly high level because this is just what I know. You have to do the organization. I mean, when they talk about organization is the key to it. It is about wrangling people and getting enough of that buy-in to write essentially a document with all of those signatures, with all of that in like a voting process. It's very formalized. It's very traceable. You can figure out kind of who is supporting this in this group, and it's got to hit a certain threshold. The idea that someone could organize the entire place and voluntarily get everyone on board within the entirety of the organization above that threshold is impossible. They would not be able to do any other part of their job.
Right.
So in order to take the time away from their jobs to organize, which is essentially what most people do, that number of people is still wildly impressive, by the way.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. So, I don't mean to.
No. I know you're not. I'm just saying like that's a crazy amount of work.
Yeah.
For both Bethesda and WoW, but like that is why that doesn't happen. I think.
Does it end up in a situation where, so the WoW team is unionized now. The Overwatch team sees that like the WoW team did it 4 or 5 months, 5-6 months now from now, that team unionizes. Do those unions merge? Do they go into the same? Like that's the part where I think the thing I just don't understand is that like
groups, all those groups could come together to form, I think, a larger overarching union. I think that is correct. Yes.
Okay. So in theory, the rest of Blizzard could unionize, and then that union could also. But then that's the other thing. It's like these walls I'm sure are a million feet thick between Bethesda and Blizzard, so it might not even be advantageous.
I think that's the point, is that I don't know aside from sending a big massive message.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what the benefit, like you kind of want to unionize where you work, right? You don't necessarily like you care, but you're like, this is where we've organized and this is where I am. This is where the people that I'm working with are, and so you might want to help them organize and give them resources to say, hey, these are the snags that we hit. But ultimately, those people at that workplace have to organize.
How does the car union work?
I don't know. I don't know how the car union works.
Because I feel like the car union is that. The cars, not the car union, the people who make the cars, their union.
And Fong pointing out that the WoW union could be its own union within a Blizzard union and within a Microsoft union. Like it is, there's kind of nesting structures as well. Yeah. A lot of that ends up that way. So yeah, but I think that's most the answer to the question is mostly like you unionize where you are. It's already really, really difficult, and I think that's why we saw it with QA teams, because they were smaller and they probably largely all have exactly the same problems, right?
Yes.
Like individual teams can usually quickly agree to the things that they want and can get all that buy-in. If you're across multiple departments, like there might not, like I can make some sort of argument somewhere that there's a team within WoW responsible for biz dev stuff that's like, actually if you hamstring my ability to take phone calls after 8 p.m. to do my job, like my job is harder because it's
Yeah.
like, I'm not saying that that's like something that the union would insist on or anything like that. I'm just saying like to get buy-in on the exact same things across departments is just a lot harder.
Yeah.
From what I understand.
Well, still,
But
congrats
Blizzard,
to
it's
these
like
teams.
Blizzard, it's like but the WoW team is I can. It's almost funny that like the teams within Blizzard have not been faster to do this because I have to imagine that like there's just a lot to agree on there and a lot of common ground to just like come together on. So there are multiple car unions. Yes, it's not just I don't think it's just one auto workers union. There are multiple unions for that.
I love learning.
Yeah. There's we talked about it a couple weeks ago, but there's a good unions in game video that people make games made, which is a good kind of like intro to the stuff. Chris Pratt is good at.
Chris Pratt.
I wish I want him to take because whenever I say his name, I also think Chris Pratt, but it's like he should have that, like he should have Chris Pratt. And then when people say Chris Pratt, they go, "Oh, the guy from People Make Games." It's like, no, Star-Lord. And then they're like, "Oh, yeah, okay."
No, I mean Star-Lord.
Got it. So yeah, that's cool. And then Hummel Games shut down. Weird. And this is so strange because like they've been a publisher of some really, really good games, including Signalis, which is one of my favorite games over the past few years. And this was a part of Humble Bundle, which is now owned by IGN. I must stress that that is the entity of IGN and not like the website, the editorial staff, anything like that.
Which is like such nasty work. They do that shit on purpose.
Yeah.
Such nasty work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. To name yourself after the thing that, because then it, it's just gross.
Yep.
I hate it.
Yeah. So
I think it should be illegal.
So Ziff basically was like, we don't really want to be in this business anymore. We're going to give it out to a third-party consultancy. They gave some mushmouth bullshit about, hard times in the economy, blah, 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 blah. But I was actually really, really impressed and entertained by the number of people from Humble Games that gave anonymous quotes to Aftermath and some other outlets that were just very honest about like, actually, like, no, it's not continuing. They completely shut us down.
Yeah.
It's completely done. Yes, there's an entity name that still exists. A third-party consultancy is basically going to ride out the rest of the releases and things that we're doing. Nobody else is there. And they all thought that games take about 6 months to make and would return their investment, within a year or something like that. So, it just gives you a real sense of how dumb these people are.
And no one's ever done anything.
Yeah.
Just ask a question.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Just ask a question.
Yeah.
Like, it's so easy to ask a question. Like, hey, how this work?
Mm-hmm.
How it work? You don't need to. And I think it's just like it's how good of a person are you legitimately? Like, I don't even think it's like an intelligence thing. It's like, do you have enough respect for human beings around you to ask questions in service of other human beings?
Right.
Because if you don't, then that's how you get into situations where it's like, oh yeah, we simply will hire 45 people to run a game studio or a publishing house, and then we won't ask anybody how it works because we don't know. We figure that they know, and then we have our expectations. Nobody ever lines up, and then when it inevitably doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. It's like, no, like if you took 2 fucking seconds to ask maybe even any of the smart, talented people that you hired, hey, what should we expect from this? Yeah. When should we expect from this? Like, it's so not difficult.
It's not. But even then, I don't think those answers would have been accepted. Like, that's the other thing is like sometimes people will ask and then they just go, oh, okay. And when it's not what they want to hear, they're just like, I'm going to file that under they don't know what they're talking about.
Yes, deeply.
And I'm going to build my own reality here. And So Ziff Lotus is reminding us that when they did purchase Humble Bundle, they got rid of their most famous and beloved feature, which is basically being able to set the percentage of your purchase that actually goes to charity. Very funny. I mean,
nuts.
I know, like having the most knee-jerk reaction all the time is not always like the right one. But I do remember when that happened, basically everyone was like, hold on a second. There's something not great here. And then, yeah, it wasn't great.
It wasn't.
So strange. Oops. Oopsie doodle. Should we take a quick break and then come back and do Hive questions?
Let's do it, John.
Let's do a quick break and then we'll be back with Hive questions. And then I've got a new segment that I'm blindsiding Niki with.
Yeah, I know. I saw the tweet. Now I'm scared.
Very excited. We'll be right back right after this. Or will we?
What?
Will we be back? Here we are.
Jesus, oh my God.
Jesus
oh, it's
Christ.
so loud, John.
Wow. Ooh, I got the vocal fry. You had the breath control better than I did. That's pretty good.
Could have gone forever, John.
We could have gone. The
gone
harmony.
forever.
There was harmony there.
It was good.
It was good. Welcome back to the show.
Hi.
It's time for some Hive questions.
Pew, 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 pew,
I got a
pew,
new.
pew.
I got a new jingle. All right, you ready?
Okay.
Okay.
The jazz is still going.
I
You know that?
just heard it. Yep. Okay, I got a new jingle. Here we go.
Okay.
We've got Hive questions. Questions for money. Answer as much as you want. So, for money, you can ask us questions. If you go to VGBees.com/join.
Oh, I see.
You can ask us questions and we'll answer them on the show. We have a question from Niki Grayson.
So it's not really a question, more of a note. So the when you did it just now,
Yep.
it sounded like the modifier.
What if I stood up and I was wearing the leather mini skirt that Tina wears?
That would be sick.
That'd be sick.
But it sounded like the modifier was on the first half. The give me your money seemed unrelated to the questions part. And that's why I was so confused initially.
Questions for money?
Yeah.
You thought that part was... Did you think it was just kind of tacky?
Yeah. I didn't understand
Hive questions. Give me your money and I will finish the show. How about that? Is that better?
But the thing is
that worse?
the show will be finished regardless of whether or not they give us money.
Okay.
So it's not related.
Okay. I've got Hive questions. If you don't pay me, I'll come to your house tonight.
Now we're talking, John. That's the good stuff. Yeah, let's kick off the fucking segment, dude. Let's go.
Hey, what is the mentioning the Scottish play in a theater of video games? This is from Papa Bear Zach. So this is for those who question. It's a great question. For those who don't know, and I'm not a superstitious person, you're not supposed to say the word Macbeth in a theater, so people call it the Scottish play. So what is that version in video games?
Well, okay, I think we first need to establish what the theater is.
Okay, what is the theater?
Because is the theater the GameStop? Because for a while, like, if the theater is the GameStop, then it for a long time was Battletoads.
Sure.
And then like pre-Battletoads, the remake. And then I think that you could also argue. I don't know. It depends. It really it's what is the theater?
My Hero Zero is because I think it could just be the entire pantheon of game discussion, and they do say I wish it was the Dark Souls of X, like, you know,
yeah.
But people, but to like, yeah, we wish it was that because people keep doing this. Piracy, that's an interesting one. But I don't think it's. I agree that we can't really talk about it in a way, but I don't think I don't think anyone is like superstitious about it. Do you know what I mean?
Do you
like
think
I'm
it's
so
like...
attached to the superstition of this question that I can't get. It's not like what can't we talk about? You know what I mean?
So maybe it isn't even piracy, but maybe it's like emulation. But I think it has to be a video game. Like, I think it has to be a game. Don't think it can be a concept.
I think you're right. It has to be a specific example of something. It's like, we can't talk about that. Is it Seaman?
Or, no, Seaman good. Duke Nukem Forever? Where there's, like, a lot of history inbuilt.
But also Macbeth is great, though.
That's the thing. And Battletoads is... How do we feel about that one?
Not good.
But that's the thing. There are no good video games that people don't talk about. You know? It would be BioShock Infinite if it was good. If BioShock Infinite felt good to play...
BioShock Infinite
had interesting...
might be close to the answer, though.
But, like, if it felt good to play and you got crackles... Audio's getting worse, John.
Oh, man.
I think if it had those things... Okay, John, let's just both mute ourselves and unplug our zones.
Unplug our zones. Okay.
Yes. Okay, ready? We're going to do it. Oh, no. I didn't realize how much effort this was going to be. Oh, this is a lot of effort. Oh, no. Oh, jeez. Didn't help at all.
Can you hear me? Can people hear me? Is it worse? Niki's video is also framey. Yeah, maybe we might not OBS this thing forever.
Hello?
Hello?
What about now? It's still crackly.
Let me do an audio setting thing real quick. Let me do Okay, I'm going to automatically adjust mic volume and see what we do.
Jordan, leave all this in.
Leave all this in.
Wow. US 3 up on Zambia. Get fucked, Zambia.
Get fucked, Zambia. What about now? That worked? Really?
Really?
Okay, so I did the audio leveling, but there is some. Okay, we're good. We're gonna keep going. Okay. What did you say?
No idea. We were talking about BioShock Infinite being the Macbeth of video games.
Sure.
I think it was good. If it was good, felt good to play, then it might be that. But I don't know. I do think it being good is an important...
I don't think the medium is old enough to actually have this be a thing. Is my most boring answer. As there's nothing... I think you're right. There's really nothing we can't talk about.
Yeah.
That is super good. Like, we don't have, I don't think, grand superstitions around. Well, hold on. Wait. Okay. Wow. I'm really taking this seriously. You can't say Macbeth in a theater if you are making the play, right?
Yes.
So if I go to a theater, like, who gives a shit? Hey, did y'all see Macbeth? If we're talking about it, it doesn't matter. If I'm making a game,
yes.
What am I not invoking?
But it depends.
I think it does depend on what game you're making.
Yes.
But I would say, I mean, unionization is a funny and also kind of true answer.
I think, but I don't know, dude. It really depends.
It's a good question. It's a good question. My most boring answer is I don't think it works.
Yeah.
Which sucks.
I wonder. I just don't know if there has been enough time or if the medium is allowed.
You're not supposed to talk about it outside the script. Okay.
Halo 2? Is it maybe Halo 2?
What? That's it. What do you mean that's it?
Like, people don't talk about it ever.
Oh, Halo 2? Yeah, that's right. Uh-huh.
I don't know.
That's it. That's right.
Good question, though. Great.
It's a
great little
question.
mind teaser.
How often do game devs actually say it doesn't work? Well, that's like a, well, I mean,
I said that shit a lot when I was working on Call of Duty.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but that wasn't ever like that wasn't like a taboo thing you could say. It's just like when someone would say it doesn't work, we would just then have to enter into a series of other conversations of just like,
Yeah.
are you being a fucking brat, or like,
Yeah.
does it actually not work? But that's like a specific to working with engineering thing. I love this question though. I wish I had a better answer.
Me
I'm
too.
gonna think about it.
Yeah, we'll come back in 6 weeks.
If this is Bone Chug Actual's phrasing, not mine. If Concord dogs it at launch, what approach should Sony employ if they want to save it?
Nothing. Let it die.
Let it die. Now apparently the audio is ahead of the video.
Man,
folks, there's nothing I can do about this shit.
Listen.
We're 30 minutes away from this being over. We're probably gonna go to we're probably gonna go to OBS next week. We're probably not even gonna go do live shit anymore. I'm probably gonna shut down the website.
We'll do no.
That's
no.
over.
It's fine. It's
refunds
fine.
for everyone.
It's Concord.
It's Concord.
Concord. Oh,
I think it's Concord.
Yeah, it's
There's
Concord.
no way they say Concord. Welcome to the world of Concord.
Yeah, it's Concord.
5-on-5 squad action featuring all your favorites from Concord.
That game's gonna be DOA.
Long Nasty telling me to relax. I'll never relax.
No.
I'll end this website right now.
I'll turn it off.
I'll turn it off.
I don't think they will. I think they will. They'll put some. I think they've got like 12 months of stuff.
I don't.
Hell yeah.
I also don't think they will. I think they will just disband that team in a year and then put 70% of that team onto other teams that need the multiplayer help.
Yeah.
And they also announced it's not getting a battle pass. That's also true.
If only they had a studio.
Which, by the way, real quick, a team announcing that they're not having a battle pass like 2 years ago would have been like music to everyone's ears.
Yeah.
And now it's suddenly like you guys are fucking doomed. And it's so true. Like, it's so true. But it's like, yeah, that's kind of how things happen.
Do you think that there is anybody in Sony like that has maybe history making kind of like a large multiplayer game?
Anyone at Sony? I don't think so. Like they made Ratchet and Clank, and then they made
I think God of War is them, right?
Crash Bandicoot and God of War. And it's like I just don't think they
nobody else
do anything.
Nobody in the house really understands.
They've certainly not spent any money on trying to get that knowledge base within their company, Because
I mean, like, if you're trying to make a bunch of live service games, like if it were me, I would try to bring somebody in that has history making a big live service game that like a lot of people like and play and talk about a lot, and like maybe like were really important for the foundation of the genre, but it doesn't really seem like that's possible. So
it certainly seems like one of Bungie's big games is winding down, and they might be able to actually shed some of that talent to go. Like, I know it's messy. I know it's not easy. I know it's not like a thing that people could just do super easily. But like, I would think that when you buy a bunch of these really big companies and kind of glue them together, part of the appeal is being able to strip off some of them, make a deal with their parent company and say, hey, I want you to pay them to basically come consult on these other teams for us for a little while. But that doesn't happen, it feels like.
Which is so silly.
Yeah, it is silly.
What's the point?
What is the point?
Like, what's the point? Like, we're gonna, like, if it's annoying, if
Bonk says bring Mag back.
I remember if Elden Scrolls 6, as you've called it, like, has not had conversations with the Obsidian team, like, why, like, for what, like, what is literally, what is the point of having those folks be in the same umbrella? But I think it requires a level of, like, look forward aheadness that none of these companies have built into the way that they work. So
correct. Yeah. Skibidi Toilet is apparently happening as a movie with Michael Bay attached to direct. Who would you pick to write the script? This is from Saturn.
What's George Lucas up to? Is he doing anything?
That might be my favorite answer I've seen. Is George Lucas? God, that'd be funny.
What's he up to?
God, that'd be funny.
They're gonna get someone generic that, like, has directed, like,
like 2 MCU movies or something.
Yes,
or like,
that you like no one has seen.
4 episodes of The Acolyte. Sure. Yeah.
Exactly. And then they're gonna pen the Skibidi Toilet movie, and it's gonna make $700 million at the box office. This is going to be. It's got to be a horror movie, right? It's the only.
It's scary.
It's the only. It has to be a horror. Like Michael, and like the idea of a Michael Bay movie that is a horror movie with also Michael Bay's predilections and tendencies, kind of fucks.
Yeah,
a little bit. They're gonna blow up so many toilets in service of this motion picture.
Fong says Noah Hawley, which he wrote.
Who?
He wrote Fargo, the TV show, also Legion on FX. Legion is so logic weird and visually interesting that I can kind of see that for Skibidi.
Oh, I have another one. Aaron Sorkin. What's he up to?
Aaron Sorkin might be.
What's that guy up to?
Well, I know what he's up to generally, and it was like 4 days ago. It was like saying like the thing that they should do is have Mitt Romney be president on the Democrat side. Like that's what Aaron Sorkin just did. So he might not be busy for a little while. You know?
Yeah, it doesn't sound like he is.
Yeah. Yeah. There could be a lot of really interesting walk and talks in Skibidi Toilet, the movie.
God, that would be so fucking funny.
And everyone will kind of talk exactly the same.
What about DB Weiss?
Yeah. No, we should just do the Game of Thrones guys again.
Yeah, what are they up to? Remember Confederacy?
I do.
In retrospect, they should have let him make it. They should have gave him one season.
I would have liked. I have to say, I would have liked to see 4 episodes of that show.
Yeah, they should have given him one. They should have given him one season.
I want to see that screener. I just want to sit in front of my TV and be like, yum 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 yum.
It sucks that we'll never see it. Good question though.
Yeah,
but Aaron Sorkin is our final answer.
Sorkin is our final answer. It's a great final answer. Are curved monitors a scam? Asks Eli.
Great question, Eli. I don't know. I have one. Does it feel any different than the flat monitor I have next to it? No. I don't know if it's maybe not big enough or the aspect ratio is not right. I have a Samsung Odyssey G5 or some shit. Yeah, that sounds right. Yes, this is the monitor that I have. This is a Samsung 27-inch G55C QHD 165 HZ 1MS parentheses MPRT close parentheses curved gaming monitor with the serial number LS27CG522ENXZA. So just type that in.
Did you get all that?
Did you get all that? Here's a link if you want that for whatever reason.
They take up slightly less space, says Lotus.
I mean, kind of, but then it's like, for what? That you know what? That space is already
dead space. I don't know.
Not really though, because it's already dead. You know what was already gonna go there? The fucking monitor. So like, yeah, I guess it saves space, but like in service of what?
Yeah.
I don't know.
You're never looking at it. I was thinking earlier. I was like, well, I'm sure if you look at it from angles, it doesn't really.
I'm not.
You're never.
My chair stays here.
I know. Yeah.
And like it's supposed to be like the curve of the monitor is the same as the curve of your eyeballs.
I don't.
That shit seems fake. I don't think it matters. Like it's. I still
think
have
if
to
it was
move my head
the other way, it'd be like, what? You know?
Yeah, exactly. But like, I still have to move my head and move my eyes to look at stuff on the screen. So like, what's the point? Like, I don't know. It might feel different if I had one of those curved ultra wide monitors.
Right.
That might be different, but this is a regular ass aspect ratio. I got it because it was the one that was on sale, like not because I wanted a curved monitor. So I don't know. I don't really know if it does anything.
We don't believe it is a scam. It doesn't feel like a scam to me. If they are cheaper, if they're getting cheaper and they are working for people, it doesn't feel like it's a scam.
They're not worse. So there's that.
They're not worse.
But I think a lot of times like stuff is worse. Like a more expensive different thing can be worse. But this isn't worse. So if you want one, get it. Go to Costco. Check out what they got at the Costco.
Go to Costco.
Or just buy a small OLED TV. Just get one big OLED TV and put that on your desk. And have that be your monitor.
Wait. Sorry. You said get one small OLED TV, and then you said one big OLED TV.
Get one 42-inch OLED television.
Yeah.
And put that on your desk.
Which is what I have in my office.
Yes. And then just use that as your monitor.
Okay.
Maybe don't do that. OLEDs are bad if you have static imagery on the screen.
Yeah,
but
that's true.
It's not your money unless it is.
Not your money unless it is. Well, folks, that brings us to our final segment of the show. It's a brand new thing that I wanted to test out with just Niki because I'm too afraid to test it on guests. It's called the VGBees Census.
Wow.
You're about to enter the danger zone where all of your demographic and opinion information will be written down until the end of time. But you can refuse to answer something if you don't want to.
Okay,
this
great.
Is a safe space.
So it's not like the census.
It's not like the census, like at all, actually.
Are you gonna send a guy to my house if I don't answer the questions? Interesting.
I can also refrain to answer questions.
I don't think that's how that works from the perspective of the United States government, but yeah.
First question. Everyone remembers their first, but what's the second video game you ever played?
Great question. I don't even know if I remember the first video game I ever played, though, is the thing.
You told me it was a Pokemon game.
That was the first video game I played by myself. Different to me. The first one I ever touched was probably a Mario or something. Mario. But the second video game I ever played?
Yep. Do you remember?
Halo 2. I don't know.
Halo 2 is the second video game you ever played.
I'm still waiting, John.
Halo 2 was the second video game you ever played. Well, we have in the chat RJ Lee saying it was Duck Hunt for RJ Lee, and it was for me as well. Congrats.
Well, it's because they were on the same cartridge.
On the same cartridge.
Because you're fucking old, both of you.
We're both fucking old.
Way to show your age.
Hey, what's your least favorite part of a game that you love?
I don't like that in Fortnite that when you jump too much, your jump height goes down. You run out of jump height.
You run out of jump juice.
Yeah, and then you got to run for a little bit. And
Does it give you a meter to show you that? Or is it? Oh, that's interesting.
It just, you feel it. Like if you tap A, you just jump less.
That's interesting.
And I get why they do it. It's so you don't spam jumps when you're getting shot at.
Yeah.
But that's annoying to me.
Great answer. He says, say something thoughtfully nice about a game or series you don't like.
I appreciate that Persona games
Okay.
do it's gotta be backhanded. I gotta walk that back. Do I appreciate anything about Persona?
See, the thoughtfully nice part is the hard thing.
It's really hard because I gotta mean it.
I think people can just cheese their way into an answer of just like, oh, I don't have to play Persona.
Like, I do want to stick with Persona. I do appreciate that the vibes of those games are very different from game to game and very pronounced from game to game. And I think from top to bottom, that is a character portrayal situation. That's the way that those games feel like they are written. I have not played any of them. From the outside looking in, seems like they have toe to tip good understanding of what they want their characters to say and do. They understand the ways that the music is important to the presentation of the game. They understand that the way that the games look and feel, the way that you move through them is important to the way that the games are presented to you.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of games do not have that cohesiveness, that cohesion on that scale. When you look at Persona 5, there are not many video games that look as put together and complete as Persona 5 does. And I do respect that.
Great answer. Hey, I waved my magic wand and you're now an expert in a skill you don't currently possess. What is it?
It's language acquisition.
Okay. Any specific language?
Well, no, because if I do all of them, then I can.
Okay, so you just
if I get the skill of language acquisition.
Okay, so it unlocks your brain that if you go on that owl can actually teach you shit now.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, that's a good one. I trap you in a Mr. Beast house. With one video game you won't get sick of for 30 days. What is it?
I have a couple of questions.
Is a toilet, so you don't have to worry.
Okay, that was actually that was gonna be on the list.
Yeah.
Do I? How long do I have to play the video game for every single day?
You have to play it for 2 hours a day.
2 hours? That's it?
You have to play it for 6 hours a day. Listen, this is called a test period.
Yeah, for
that's
sure.
a great question, and I'm like, 2's not enough.
Okay. I'm also just assuming that like I'm getting paid, like I don't have to worry about anything.
It's
fine. Like I'm just like picked up Pocket Dimension.
Yeah, but just
Mr.
like
Beast house.
You're fine. Everyone you love is fine. Like you'll get to the end of it and you'll get money.
6 hours a day.
But 6 hours a day you have to play a video game. What do you not get sick of? You don't have to play with Mr. Beast.
That's a great question.
That's a great question.
Great question.
I'll workshop this question. It may not even involve Mr. Beast next time. The Mr. Beast thing, I think, is confusing too many people.
I think like a heavily modified version of Minecraft.
Okay.
Sure. Probably would be the move. Right. Because for 2 hours a day, it could be a lot of stuff. For 2 hours a day, that's 60 hours. Like I can pick any AAA video game and then that would be the end of it. But for whatever 30 times 6 is,
yeah, that's a lot.
That's a lot more.
180 hours.
Yeah, that's more.
It's a lot.
Someone in chat said Rocksmith. Fonk said Rocksmith, but 6 hours a day of playing guitar is going to hurt your body.
Yep.
So I don't know if that one, as a person who played fake guitar when I did QA for Guitar Hero for 3 hours a day, that was too much. So that ain't it. I think it's Minecraft.
Okay. Minecraft.
Or like it's Minecraft. It's like a Warframe. It's a No Man's Sky. It's one of those where it's like the game is so big that you can easily put 180 hours in and feel like you have a pretty robust experience of stuff to look for.
Great. Handheld or big screen?
Big screen.
Best controller of all time?
Xbox 360.
Surprise, someone died and strangely left an intellectual property to you in their will. What's the property and what are you doing with it?
Good question, John. Probably. Oh, I think I could fix Pokemon.
You think you could fix Pokemon? Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it would be that difficult.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
So fixing Pokemon.
Yeah. And because the reason I picked that one is because that's my life. That's my life's work.
Ann just got home from a day trip, so this is Ravioli's cool greeting. I'm gonna mute myself while you finish your thought.
That would turn into my life's work, and then I would have purpose, which is huge, deeply what I'm looking for. It would be fun, I think, and that community is so vocal that I would know if I did it good or not, you know?
Yeah.
And because it's mine, then I know how to iterate, and I am incentivized to iterate. My first step would be we aren't releasing one for 4 years.
Yeah.
Where I'm throwing all of it in the garbage, and we're not releasing one for 4. Everything we have.
It's a great
trash.
first step. It's a great first step.
And we're starting.
Eli, we're ignoring money in the question. Yeah, if it was the case, I'd just be like, give me Call of Duty, and I'll just go home. And just collect that money. Yeah,
no,
yeah.
I think it's like you gotta do the work about it.
Right. Yeah. So you'd fix Pokemon. All right.
I think I would fix Pokemon.
Great. Hey, give everyone a piece of fashion advice.
Great. Your pants are too tight.
Where? All
of them. All over.
All over.
Widen that leg. It's not 2011
leg
anymore.
Interesting. Okay, great. You decide to host a dinner party for 6 people. What are you serving?
Food. Fucking got your ass, idiot. Fuck you. Dummy.
Well, we're still workshopping.
Cool question, bud.
All right.
The dessert is a banana pudding.
Great.
We're gonna probably work backwards. I think I want for a bevy, I want something refreshing.
Okay.
And it's really crazy that I'm trying to build the drink first and not the entree, not the main. But I think some sort of citrusy gin.
Your dinner party. Okay.
Some sort of citrusy gin
so
drink.
You don't want people to stay at the dinner party. No, listen, these are your answers. This is a safe space. No judgment. Sorry, forget I said that. So a citrusy gin thing.
And then I think, I don't know. I like the idea of a dinner party where there is collaboration in the creation of the thing.
Which is why I said, what are you serving? I did not say, what are you making?
Yes.
I'm just saying,
so I think a family style, like you build your own taco situation might be fun. Right. Like an asada and a carnitas and a sofritas situation might be nice.
Right.
Or fucking just like just some cereal.
Like a cereal bar. Hit.
Yeah, cool. Like can you imagine if someone was like, this would fucking bang.
That would actually.
If someone was like, great. If someone was like, I went to the store and I got 50 cereals.
Yeah.
And you could just kind of fuck around and eat cereal for a while.
Okay, that's so great. It's such a good answer because like, I would never sit at a store and be like, I'm going to get a full box
of grape nuts.
Or like Fruit Loops, oops, all greens or whatever.
Yes.
Or like Apple Jacks, like the time I only ate Apple Jacks for a week in college because I was so depressed.
Yeah.
Like I would never buy those boxes again, but if I saw them at someone's house,
yes.
Yeah, fuck me.
I'll fuck up a bowl, absolutely.
So cereal dinner parties.
Cereal appetizer.
Okay.
Some sort of taco family style taco situation, banana pudding, and then a citrusy gin drink.
Cool.
Final answer.
Hit me with the spicy take so specific barely anyone will care.
I think that the WNBA All-Star Game is in Olympic years is the only good one. I think conceptually, I like them.
It pits a team that's not going to the Olympics against a team that is going to the Olympics.
Yes, and it's the only All-Star game that has juice. The rest of them are like, I like the idea of an All-Star game. Like, I appreciate and value that, like, yes, you need to celebrate these players in the middle of the year, give them a little break, and then have them do some fun stuff in service. But none of them are good. The only one that hits is once every 4 years, and it's the WNBA All-Star Game, where we have Team USA and everybody else play against each other.
Yeah,
it's the only one that has juice.
I think it's the funniest one by far, because what they're just doing is like, hey, you know that team that everyone's so proud that we assembled? What if we dismantled it?
Yeah, what if
in front of a big crowd, in front of the biggest audience we have all year, or whatever? Let's say, well, I bet this team fucking stinks, actually.
Yeah.
And then Arike Agumbawale was like, I'm gonna drop 34 on
watch this.
Team USA.
Yeah,
it's pretty good. All right, finally, share a warm memory with me.
Of you or generally?
Just generally.
Oh, I think like when Barley and I finished our drive and we finally got Barley's on my mind.
Yeah.
When we finished our drive and we finally dropped all of my shit, I unloaded the car in Providence and put all of my stuff down. And then I looked at Barley and then I looked at all of my shit and then Barley looked at me and then Barley walked over to a box and then sat down in front of it. And that box had pictures and it was pictures and I think records. It was stuff that was very much my stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. And not generic a table or whatever the fuck. Right.
It was sentimental.
And she said, yeah, and she sat in front of that box and I was like, oh. Okay. This is my stuff. This is my space. This is how we're going to do it. And she did something similar when we moved in here. But yeah, that's
sweet.
That's my answer.
I like that. That's a good answer. All right, that's it. We did it.
Wow. Good segment, John.
You did the VGBees Census, and now your answers are recorded and they will be sent to Kamala Harris. And I hope she likes the answers. We'll see.
No, what is she gonna do with them?
Well, she's a cop, so she gets to decide, I guess. So
great, awesome.
No one in chat tell any of the other guests that ever take the census that their answers will be sent to Kamala Harris. We will pack this away. This has been a good ep. Let's get out of here. This has been fun.
John, there's an advertisement for propane on the television right now.
Propane and propane
just
accessories.
For propane.
Wow.
There's a bus. There's a farm. There's a truck. There's a forklift.
Oh, we're buzzing.
There's in a field. They're playing the violin.
They're playing the violin?
Yeah, dog. Well, I can't hear it because I'm on this.
Right. Yeah. That's wild. This has been good though. Thanks for
great app.
Thanks for hanging out, chat. If you like what you heard just now, you can join VGBees by going to vgbees.com/join. You can join the Hive. If you are in the Hive, you can ask questions every single week. Niki and I will answer them like we answered them today. It's always a highlight of every VGBees podcast episode. There will be a bonus going up relatively soon. That's kind of a reviews extravaganza. I'm talking about 3 different games that I am reviewing for the website, and it will be kind of like an audio version with some additional thoughts that I did not get to put in my written reviews. So be on the lookout for that. And you can only hear those bonus episodes if you are a Hive member. So check that out. That episode should go up early Monday morning because there is an embargo that ends on Monday morning. And that is when that episode will go up. All right, folks. Until next week, keep on buzzing, everybody. Bye.